Usually they have frets on this on there, but I pulled them out and then I put wood putty in them so I could be more like a cello. But it is tuned like a bass. It's not like tuned like a cello. Those of you who also play bass or have any experience with bass, it's tuned to fourths instead of fifths. So you'd count up 4 steps to go between each particular string, and that's because the string length is so long. The string length is like 34 inches long right here, whereas the cello is right around 28. So our fingers can play just a little bit more easily. But anyway, yeah, if any of you think that you might like to split it up, play a little cello, play a little bass, I think it's a great side instrument to play. It gives you kind of a different idea. The notes look just like bass, are in the bass clef, but the only string that is in common is this D string, which is kind of like our same D string, and but then they get a little weird. The finger ends get a little weird after that. But I think y'all are pretty smart and pretty quick with ideas. So if you see one, like when the stores open up, or if you have one like Cole does at his house that he can just sort of grab and play sometimes, then then perhaps you might get a kick out of making the sound out of it. So anyway, bass guitar. And the way that everything sort of got played down was that I think I showed you a few weeks ago the performance of the piece. Let me get rid of this stuff over here and this stuff over here, and what we see here is the actual performance of the bass of the rhythm section part, and over here is the bass guitar part, and over here are some drum parts. Okay, they're called overhead and then kick and snare. So there were two microphones for the drums, and then the piano was just recorded straight in on it looks like a right-left pair over here. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Let's see if oh yeah, let's do that right over here. And then we have a click over here. This is like how this thing plays in, and then here's the bass part that I just recorded with a few like little outtakes, and here's the drum parts, and here's the piano part. So and then this will go out to all of the clarinets, and they'll all be able to play along with the recording of the piece. And then what happens is they send in a video, and then we make one of those cool little video things for the class for their performance, because there are no live studio recitals now. It's just too dangerous for everybody to get together. I would call it a bit like church. So let's see. I would love to try out. Oh yes, and here's what the bass part looks like. Let me just show you. Okay, so here's the bass part. As you can see, a cellist could probably play this pretty well, right? You know where a B flat is, and an F, and an A, and a G, and it doesn't go. Their lowest note is an E, so when we go down to a C below that. Yeah, it's a pretty easy little part to play, and this music notation becomes this playing sound files. Okay, oops, let's get that in here. So like that kind of note, for instance, is the opening B flat. Okay, and why don't I just play a little bit for you? Let me just change this so you can hear it. And there we are with this. It's going to restart. Okay, go ahead. Yes, fine. Okay. See if it'll restart over here. Locating audio files. Oh, there we go. Okay. And just to be sure, let's do a little test. I need to share audio when I do this. Ready? Here it is. Share computer audio. Boom. All right. And here's from the beginning. Here's the piano. Drum fill, ready? And so that's kind of how that all goes. Any questions on that kind of music making? Now that I hear it, I'm not real impressed with how I did this part. Like right here. Let me just show you. It's just a little... And if we drill down into this, look at how... Oops. Here is the bump, 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 bump. Notice how piano here, bass is a little bit ahead, but then is right on the money with the drums here. So it's kind of hard to tell. Like, see how the piano is just a little bit late here, but the piano's on here, and then bass is, I'm playing a little bit ahead of the beat, but then it catches right here. It's just it's just not quite tight. So that's kind of the fun of music making, I guess. All right, so maybe someday you might find yourselves making music in the same way. Like we spend our time here at the cello making a live performance, but the back end of making everything sound good in a recording is own field of endeavor and expertise. Let's play a little bit. Got this bow thing here. And let's get all tuned up. And here is the D. And G. And C. All right. Okay. So let's see. Where is this music? Daddy. Oh yeah, this one. And then if we were to make this really big, G major, and then we'll get into the arpeggio. Here is our scale of the day. All right, and let me grab you all over here and bring you out into the middle. There we go. And then we're going to play this, and then we're going to play the arpeggio. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, we started really simply, but we did a shifting exercise. And so we're shifting between first position and fourth position. All right, let's start this thing from the beginning, right over here. And... third finger, fourth finger, first finger, and 4G. Now back down. Cool. So now let's try a little bit where we do this scale, the same scale, but um, let's see here. Let's do it with a slur, and we're just gonna do this one right here, and it's gonna look like this. We're gonna go down. And you might run out of bow, like I just did. That's no problem. But we're just going to play this little bit, which is this scale pattern here, and I'm going to expand it and then drag it over. Okay, so we're going to play this bit right here. Ready? Dut, 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 3, 4. Hi, that time my bowing actually worked pretty well. So we're gonna go down, up, down, and then a big long up bow up. Ready? Again? 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. Who has some anybody have some questions on that kind of scale pattern or scale or bowing pattern? Anyone?
I'm just wondering, like, how would I maintain the speed? Because I seem to be going faster on the higher strings and then way slower on the lower strings.
Oh, the best way, yeah, that's a really good question. The best way to maintain speed is to either have an external clock or an internal clock playing. And so let me bring back the class a little bit. That's a really good question about how to keep the speed going, both not too fast and not too slow, right? And one of the best ways I've got is just like on my phone, I will pull up a metronome, and I will just click to that. Now you can decide you can decide to have a click that goes dot 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 dot, which is like for every note that you play, or you can subdivide it. You can say like, oh, I'm gonna have this click go dum 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 bum, and then you play 2 notes within each click. But then what you're doing is you're mentally counting how that fits together, and you have to fit like say 2 notes in, or 3 notes in, or 4 notes in to a beat, and so you're making the division. Was that what you were thinking of? Yeah,
Yeah.
good. So yeah, the main thing to think about is just like having a steady beat. Now, when you're having a beat like mine, where you're playing along with me, then it will be a little bit less less how shall I say? It'll be a little bit less exact, but that's the word I was looking for. But if we were to play a click along with, and let me just bring this in, share computer sound, great, okay. Then if we were to play this together, I'm going to use a click about this fast, right? And you can hear this going through, okay. And so now we're going to put 2 notes into this one, da-dee, 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 right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And part of it is just control. Like part of the difficulty is just making the bow go exactly the amount of time that you want, and that just takes practice. That just takes time with the cello. It doesn't seem to get any really easier than that. Let's do the G major arpeggio. In this one, we're going to do a slide from 4th finger to 4th finger. Okay, and it's probably the most valuable shift you have in your whole world as a cello player, is going from here to there. Let's all try that. I don't care how slow it goes. Doesn't matter to me. But I want you definitely to feel that distance between 4 and 4. Okay? So as we play this 2-octave arpeggio, then what's going to happen is that we're going to be in first position, and then we're going to go up, and then we're going to go straight back down. Okay? So let's play this all together. It's G, B, D, G, B, D. Now slide up, G. Now slide back down. Let's do that again. Ready? And repeat. Now we're going to slide up. Good. Now let's try it faster. Okay, I see somebody playing fast. Miss Poon, excellent work. Nice work over there. Okay, here we go. So. And faster. And. It's the quickest shift in the West. We're just gonna go straight up, straight back down. Ready? And a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who wants to go faster still? Or slower? Slower? Slower. Okay, here we go. Faster. Oh, I'm going to take a faster first before we go slower. Ah, right, I know. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. Ready, go. And again, here we go. 2, 3. Yeah, and now a little slower. 3, 4. Now let's go half as fast. Bum, 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 bum. Ready? And. And then let's go really slow. Cool. A good starting point, though not one that'll last you very long, is to hit the side of the instrument, and that's kind of your fourth position. Like when you touch there, then a lot of beginning cellists say, "Ah, I know fourth position," and it'll get you a ways, and you can play it that way. But it's a little bit better. Eventually, we'll count the. Oops. Let me just get rid of this. Come on. There we go. Delete copy. All right. So I do that all the time because Shift Command S is to save a copy, except in Zoom. But I do try and consider this part of the cello hot lava as you get older, so that you're playing around the side of the cello, but not on the side of the cello, because this can just only slow you down. It's like an extra frictional surface. Now let's take a look over at, yesterday we did Georgia. Yep. Okay. And let's see here. It's a little bit weird of a playing wise, but what I'd like to do is have you play along with the music. Let's see here. Yes, that's shared. Excellent. And now I'm going to change the shape of this awesomeness. And there we go. And we have this music over here that you see, right? And we're going to play a little bit of it. Yesterday we learned the melody. We learned the bass line. And today, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to choose this rhythm, and if we were to play this, it's kind of generally, this is called Georgia on My Mind, and it's originally by Hoagy Carmichael, so it's like from the early 20th century, and maybe you've heard this, Georgia, Georgia, okay, and so we're just going to sort of play through. Go ahead and try it out, and I'll play along with this click, and so that you can sort of hear yourselves play and look over at my own playing and hear my playing as well. So I'm going to start in first position. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3. Kind of restates the theme. 4, 1. 2, 3. I'm going back to first position, and then up to third. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, B, and now B section. That could have been done in first position. Now third position. Now 3, 4, 3, 4, and 2, 3. I'm going to go to second. Okay. Now, do any of you have any questions on that piece? Have you heard it before? Raise your hand if you've heard it before. Yeah, we got some people who've heard it. Okay, and yeah, look back into Ray Charles, and then also Willie Nelson has put out a great recording of this piece as well, the country singer. So now, what happened yesterday is we said, oh well, let's take a look at the chords and what that means to be a bass player. So first off, let's just play quarter notes using the notes that are written on these in these chords right here. So when it says G, just play 4 notes of G. When it says B, play 4 notes of B, and E 2 beats, D 2 beats, C sharp 2 beats, and C natural. By this split chord, it's not really a split chord. It's in what's called an inversion. So this is the D in this E minor chord is actually the chord the note that you play as the bass player. Okay, and play as low a note as you can on this. We're gonna be bass players. Okay, and let's try pizzicato, and we're just gonna play along. And I'm gonna call out the names of the chord names so you can sort of keep track of everything. And then I'm gonna keep the same tempo. And what I'd like you to do is just sort of find those notes on your instrument as we call them out. Okay, you can choose high or low or anything like that, and you're just basically playing quarter notes so that you can follow the chord progression. So here it is. Ready? All right. 1, 2. Oh, does anybody have any questions before we get going? Anybody? Feel free. All right, let's play this thing. Ready? 1, 2, G. Here we go. G. Now going to B. Now I'm going to go down for E, D, C sharp, B. Now this is that circle of fifths. E, A, D, B, E, A, D. Now we're going to the third line, G. Now B. Now we've got that same descending line. E, D, C sharp, C natural. Now B, E, A, D, G. Now go to F. And then G. Now B. Here's the B section. E minor, A, E, C, E, A, E, A. Now E, now D sharp, now D, and then C sharp, F sharp, B, G sharp, A. Now we're back in to G, second to the bottom line, B, E, D, C sharp, C natural, B, E, A, D, G, D, G. All right. Now I'm going to come back and let's come back for a little bit of discussion and how that all played out. What'd you think about that? Was that a little crazy? Was that a whole different way of making music than you were used to? Like when we first started out reading the notes of what was on the piece, right? What was on the music. And then we went to like what the rhythm section may play. And as a matter of fact, you saw that I had a written out bass part in the I Get Around, but that's because they have a very specific bass line that the Beach Boys used, and you would be hard pressed to make anything better for that Beach Boys song. But oftentimes, you're just given the lead sheet, like that Georgia on My Mind song, and you just kind of have to make it in style. Maybe if you want to make it into a reggae style, or a country music style, or a hard rock style, then what would happen is you would make the entire arrangement of the piece different, and you would choose different notes. But the chords and the melody are what define the piece. And so in order to make a different style, chukka, 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 right, in a reggae thing, as I have it on my mind, or maybe some kind of like classic rock / country kind of sound, that you might have a whole different kind of music that would go underneath this, but it would still be Georgia on My Mind. Okay, so a lot of music is created that way, where you make the where you follow a form and a pattern, and then you make up the music. Now we were just doing quarter notes. There may be other rhythms that a person might use for Georgia on My Mind, and you have a lot of freedom there. Are there any questions about that kind of music making? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to head off to my next class. You've been fantastic. It's wonderful teaching you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. We'll get into the 3-octave G major scale and doing arpeggio, and then we will also do a little bit more improvisation, where, for instance, you might even like to take a solo on this same song of Georgia on My Mind. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.